Hi everyone, welcome back to Raw Inspired Living. Today I thought I'd jump in here and show you how I use some of those pantry staples we were talking about in the last video with some beautiful raw food to give you amazing flavour and just delicious nutritional food. So yes, it's another recipe from Simply More Raw Inspired Living recipe book. We're going to make these beautiful seed and veggie crackers today. They are so divine. So let's have a quick look at the ingredients. Okay, so here are our pantry staples that I'm using in this recipe. So we've got some sunflower seeds, we've got some chia seeds, some flax seeds, we've got some salt and garlic powder, and then we've got some tamari and some lemon juice and just some water. So they are our pantry staples, and I'm going to combine them with some vegetables. So I've basically just chopped up some carrots, some zucchini, some red and yellow capsicums or peppers with some fresh herbs, oregano, basil and parsley. And we're going to combine those all together to make these beautiful, delicious dehydrated seed crackers. So let's get on with it. This recipe honestly could not be simpler. So we're basically just going to throw all our seeds into a big bowl. That's it. All our seeds, and make sure we've got them all in there. And then we're going to actually add our salt and our garlic powder. So make sure all that's in there. And we're going to give that a stir around because you want that salt and garlic powder to be all well distributed through the nuts and seeds, and you also, or the nuts or the seeds, no nuts in this one, and you want the seeds to be well mixed in. So I just give those a mix around. All right, fairly simple. Once they're all really nicely mixed, then we're literally just going to add the other ingredients. So we've got the tamari and the lemon juice that's going in, and all of that's in, and then we've got the water. So we're just going to stir it all together, and it looks really watery when you're pouring it in. You're like, that's ridiculous. But what's going to happen is those chia seeds and all the flax seeds and chia seeds are actually going to soak up the water. So this recipe needs a little sitting time because obviously you can't really spread that on a dehydrator tray because it's pretty runny. And to that mixture, after you've given it a bit of a mix, we're going to add all our veggies in. So you just add the veggies in, just like that. So we're just adding all our beautiful veggies in. Oh, the veggies give it such great nutrition, just all those vitamins and minerals that go in there, and they're all still alive because we're dehydrating these no more than 45 degrees Celsius, and they will all still be available, all of those nutrients. So you just stir in the veggies, you give that a mix around. You want to make sure that it's all mixed, so you don't want any big clumps of veggies or big clumps of seeds all together. So give it a good mix. And when I'm letting it sit, I let it sit for about 30 minutes to an hour, but I do give it a bit of a stir every now and then because I don't really want things falling to the bottom. So you can see already how it's starting to thicken up a little bit, and that will happen more over the next 30 minutes to an hour. So what we'll do is we'll come back when that's done, and then I will show you how I pop that on the dehydrator sheet and into the dehydrator. We're back after about half an hour, and you can see that this mixture is quite thick and gluggy now. So that's fine, it'll spread onto a tray. So let me just show you how I do that, and then they'll go in the dehydrator. I just bought these, they're just like silicone mats. I just bought them from Amazon. There's 4 in a pack, and they're amazing for crackers or anything that sort of is a little bit watery and needs to stay within the dehydrator sheet. So I find them really great for wraps, for anything like that I'm doing in the dehydrator. It's amazing. Now you can make these crackers as thick or as thin as you want. I mean, I like my crackers not so they're breaking. I like to be able to put a bit of avocado or something on my crackers, so I do like them a little bit thicker. So we're just going to spread those out. So I just have a little palette knife that I spread that out with, and I'm literally just pushing out this mixture to make it, to a nice sort of texture, a nice, not texture, a nice thickness is what I'm saying, and a nice even thickness, because if it's not even, it's going to dehydrate, or as even as you can get it, obviously, but it's going to dehydrate differently in the parts that aren't even. So you're basically just spreading it out like that till you get it to the thickness that you're wanting. So we'll just spread that out a little bit more. I won't bore you with the other one, but I'll show you what they look like when they're ready to go into the dehydrator. Okay, so here are both of our crackers. You can neaten up the sides if you want. I mean, I'm not too fussy about the sides. I quite like the crunchy bits at the side. but you can even them up if you want to, just with your palette knife. Now, one thing I do with my crackers, and I find it makes it a little bit easier, is I do sort of score them. You don't have to drag it through, because obviously with the veggies, it's, you know, you don't want to drag it out of its shape, but I just sort of do a little, you know, a little dent through the middle of them, and I put them in the dehydrator like that, because that means that when they're dehydrated and they're dry, they're going to break up into the size that I want without, you know, you can break them up so that they're not square either, and that looks quite nice too, because they're a little bit more rustic, and I quite like the rustic look as well. But sometimes I like to just, you know, just mark them where I want them to crack. And they will, so it's actually quite a good little technique. Now these will be in the dehydrator, and sorry, one other thing, you can make your veggies as big or as small as you want. You can see I still got quite big veggie chunks in there, but if you don't like that, then don't do that. Then really process your veggies until they're quite really fine and thin. So that's it for that, and they will go in the dehydrator for about 8 to 12 hours. Really, you can't overcook them, because that's the amazing thing about the dehydrator, you won't burn them. They can just stay in there until they're the crispiness that you like. So it takes about 8 to 12 hours. Here, I'm in Queensland in Australia, it's a little bit humid at the moment, so it might take a little bit longer. Really does depend on where you live, so, but about 8 to 12 hours. So I will come back and show you the finished product. Okay, let's finish off these beautiful seed and veggie crackers. So I've just got them out of the dehydrator. Here where I live, it's a bit humid, so they took about 16 to 17 hours. Now, when I break up all my crackers, I store them in these beautiful, big, huge cookie jars. So I just got these off Amazon. I can put the link below. They're super handy. I put all my kale chips in there and also my dehydrated crackers, and they keep really fresh for ages. So I'll pop a link down there. So as you can see, the seed crackers, we scored the crackers, and as they dry, they actually break apart a little bit on their own. So you don't need to do much breaking apart, but I'll show you how easily they break apart and how crispy they are. So you can see where we've scored some of them, and then you can see the crack. Like, they're actually really quite crispy. That's easily break apart. As I say, you don't have to do that before. You can just break them into any shape that you want, but you can see it's quite crispy, just like a cracker. So you just break them all up and then you pop them in the jar, and you've got dehydrated raw crackers on hand. So there you go. Look at that. Some amazing crackers that honestly people would not know were still raw, because as I showed you, they're still crunchy, they snap like a normal cracker. You can use them with dip, you can have avocado on them, so you can really use them any way you want, or you can just snack on them. And all the bioavailable nutrients are still there, ready for your body to use, because they're not cooked, they're not heated to beyond where those enzymes and all those nutrients can stay functional. So I hope that helps. I hope you try the recipe and love it. Let me know what you think, and I hope to see you again in Raw Inspired Living.